Let me offer the argument, which will be embraced by at least three people out here, from the conservative point of view, because it doesn't strike me that from their point of view it's that outrageous. Their argument goes something like this, that since Reagan, we haven't had a conservative Republican president. We've had George H.W. Bush. We've had his son, who spent a fortune on, on Medicaid, Medicare Part D, and education, increased discretionary spending. Our nominees included John McCain, who was the most liberal of the candidates running, and then we got Mitt Romney, who, before he underwent this, political sex change operation, was the pro-choice, pro-gay rights, pro-environmentalist, pro-gun control Obamacare guy. So from their point of view, why aren't they right? They haven't had a real conservative president.
Well, George Bush was a real conservative. One of the problems is the definition keeps getting moved.
He spent a lot of money.
Ronald Reagan was conservative. He raised taxes 14 times. He passed the single biggest abortion legalization act as governor of California, called the Therapeutic Abortion Act. He did so many things that would be totally impossible
today, but he's been canonized.
Well, he's been rewritten. But so the party keeps moving, and so the people who seemed very conservative at the time are, by the current definition, moderate. Pretty soon it's going to be this radio talk show, Mark Levin sitting alone in the room. He'll be the only one left. And so people like me, who were mainstream Wall Street Journal conservatives, are now rhinos. Republican in name only, and also a very noble animal. I'm embracing that.
By the way, the Wall Street Journal editorial page has certainly moved substantially to the right from where it was, too.
But the country hasn't moved. And so the reason people like Mitt Romney and John McCain keep getting elected, or at least nominated, is the party's moved right. It hasn't gone totally crazy. I mean, they're going to try to get somebody who's plausible. But in the way, I covered John McCain, you did in 2000, compared him to 2008. It was an unrecognizable guy.
Right.
Mitt Romney, the same. You just got to move to where the party is. Right. So to me, that movement has been not only politically suicidal, it's been wrong for the moment. When you're a party, you have to understand, what is the problem of the moment? The problem of the moments are two. First, we've got this sclerotic welfare state, but secondly, we're a widening, segmented party where social mobility just becomes much harder. And if you're not offering anything to a 24-year-old mom making $25,000 a year as a waitress, you're not solving the essential problem of the country. And the Republican Party really isn't offering much to that.
And the funny thing about that, and I use funny not in its humorous sense, is that all through the Republican convention, the argument was, we are the party of opportunity, and everybody on that platform had the same story, right? I was born in a box, I ate leaves for food, and now, because of America, I got to be what I am.
Right.
So it's like they know they're supposed to be sane. They know, I guess it's like Brendan Behan's line about, they're like eunuchs in a harem. They know what they're supposed to do, they just can't do it.
Well,
so in a moment I want to get to how someone gets from a mainstream conservative position to providing that. But just a couple of more political questions. One is about, we've been talking around this a bit. The argument within the Republican Party now is, do we have a message problem, or do we have a more substantial problem? And we've heard both of these arguments. What do they got?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the eunuch in the harem.
It's what he said about critics.
Okay,
but Brendan, in case you want to know.
Thank you for that mental image. So they've got a substance problem. Like I said, the problem. The Republican Party started out as the party of social mobility. It started out with Abraham Lincoln. He was a kid in Illinois or in Kentucky and Indiana at various times, and he wanted to have a life that was not. He wanted to get off the farm. And so early in his career, he gave more speeches about banking than he did over the course of his life about slavery, because he believed there should be railroads, public investments to give poor boys and girls a chance to rise and succeed. The railroad legislation, the Homestead Act, land-grant colleges, that was the party at its core. Social mobility, using government to give people a chance to succeed. Now it's become the party of not that kind of conservatism, but freedomism. The argument is less government, more liberty. Well, if you're that 25-year-old waitress with a kid, government is not your problem. Your problem is you want to get that kid a chance to succeed, and it's not like Horatio Alger anymore. She can't just do it by working hard at age 8 as a messenger boy. She needs to have a stress-free home so she can practice self-control to get through school for 20 years. She probably needs a tight web of social capital so she can be surrounded by relationships, so she can learn to use people as tools to succeed. She probably needs language training so she can do the cognitive stuff you need in this economy. You just need a much denser social fabric. And if you're not part of the solution for that, then you're going to be irrelevant to working class voters whose wages are stagnant. And so the Democrats have a story to tell her. We're going to give you Pell Grants. We're going to give you early childhood education. The Republicans don't have a story to tell. The story they tell is we're going to cut taxes, rising tide will lift all boats. Well, if you're in a period of increased inequality and social decline of social capital, rising tides don't lift all boats.